Well, here we are again. I previously made a commentary regarding the subject a couple of days ago, and I posted it July the 14th regarding the new female James Bond. So, what we have here is Lashana Lynch, formerly known from the Captain Marvel movie, and not much else, placed in this starring role in a huge intellectual property, taking over for taken over as the female proxy for a beloved, iconic character in pop culture and a symbol of hyper masculinity. They've decided to use her as a plot device and probably backdoor her way into actually being the James Bond going forward by placing her in the 25th installment of the franchise, which sees her teaming with the former 007 Daniel Craig, who I have no love for, in an adventure. Well, I don't know how to say this. I just got to be blunt about it. I think it's all bullshit. Yeah, be honest about that. And, some people are not going to like hearing me say this. A certain segment of the community or society at large is going to have a negative reaction to this. But I think that this woman has been done a great disservice. I think that she'd be better served finding an original character to play if she's looking for this type of role. Maybe generating one, but this is not what they do. They like to graft their narrative onto existing characters. They want to put it in your face. And I hate to say that. It seems like it's about being needlessly provocative and putting something in your face. So I got to call bullshit on this because Lashana Lynch has been royally screwed. Maybe the movie will be successful. Maybe it'll make a lot of money on the name value alone. But what do you have after that once people know that she's going to be the James Bond for the foreseeable future? If this project works or if this somehow does a Captain Marvel and creeps across, the profit line. And as far as I'm concerned regarding that movie, the only reason they hit $1 billion was they released it worldwide on one day or whatever. From what I know, I'm just saying, this woman has been made a patsy, a fall guy, a scapegoat for an unseen party's agenda. And I think it's shitty. And I think I don't know, maybe she's just looking at her bottom line. But I'm going to prove right now that this is all bullshit. Now take a look at this. This is obviously Halle Berry. This scene is from John Wick 3. But this commentary is not about John Wick 3. The commentary is about the fact that a pre-existing character exists in the Bond franchise that could have been used instead of making Bond a female. Right before Daniel Craig took over, right before the series was rebooted, they had a last installment with Pierce Brosnan called Die Another Day. This movie introduced the now iconic female action hero, a character who had her own sense of agency and purpose, independent of MI6 and the Bond franchise. Her name was Jinx, and she was portrayed by Halle Berry in the now famous, scene where she wore the bikini that Ursula Andress wore in the original Doctor No, I believe. This character was a CIA agent or Black Ops, and she answered to her own handlers, and she was very skilled. They did have to, because it's a James Bond movie, you had to see her in some sense of peril. So they had at least one or two scenes of her in peril. But she was actually given her own detailed action scene at the conclusion of the movie with a female villain that was exciting to watch. It was more exciting than the Bond segment of that action, climax. But she had to fight this stuffy British woman who had been trained as a double O by MI6. And the woman had like a fencing sword, and then she had like some kind of serrated knife. and she ended up killing a woman. And it was a pretty damn good fight, you know. So I just want to put that out there. We already have Halle Berry, and Halle Berry's 50, I admit it, but she looked pretty damn good in John Wick. And even if you wasn't going to use Halle Berry, there's plenty of other young actresses that could assume this role. They could have made a complete franchise. As a matter of fact, back in the day, it was discussed that her character in Die Another Day would be spun off into her own series of films. This never materialized because the people that hold the copyright, the people over the James Bond franchise, decided to reboot with Craig, and that left her whole series in limbo, which makes no goddamn sense since it was independent. I mean, she has a built-in supporting character list. You know, she had Felix Leiter, who was now portrayed by her brother Jeffrey Wright, I believe, and she had Michael Madsen as her handler. You know, you could have built around that. You could have gave her own series of films. And why didn't they do that? Halle Berry is more than capable of performing complex action scenes, and I've seen it in a lot of movies. She does have some range. She's grown as an actress. She was crap before, but she has grown as an actress. As far as them damn X-Men movies go, she was never given a chance to do anything because those movies were also about pushing a certain agenda. And I won't go there right now. But here we have a pre-established James Bond character. She looks like a James Bond classic femme fatale, a James Bond girl, but she has a sense of agency. She's lethal. She's smart and intelligent. And by the way, she has her own Barbie doll. So are we going to see a Barbie doll based on Lashana Lynch? We're going to see a Barbie doll with the shaved head, wearing a men's, what I've been told she's going to be wearing a version of Roger Moore's jungle suit. Are we going to see a doll that looks like that? Is she going to have a series of video games? Is she going to have fiction written about her, you know, sci fiction? Are they going to commission someone to write some books detailing the exploits of this new black female, whatever, James Bond? I know her name's not James Bond. Her name is something like Nomi or something. So I don't know. My name is Nomi. I'm a 007 or whatever. I don't know what her freaking name is, but this all feels like a massive trolling by the toxic feminism that seems to be prevalent in entertainment and other areas of our society. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about Me Too. I'm tired of hearing about Me Too. Me Too is tired of hearing about Me Too. It was supposedly started by this chick named, well, sorry, I take that back. I gotta be respectful. It was supposedly started by Tarana Burke. Once you've seen that woman, you'll never forget it, much like seeing Freddy Krueger. Supposedly it was started by her, but Melissa Milano co-opted the phrase, trying to, well, I ain't gonna say stealing, but you know, she co-opted the phrase, not saying stealing, and then through that oversight, a lack of oversight on her part, Tarana Burke came into prominence in front of us as a media entity, a personality, someone we see on our TVs blabbing around. And she's full of shit. And I'm sorry, I guess that's maybe my third or fourth blue word, but you have to understand. It's tiresome to have this mindset, you know, in culture today where they're just, I don't want to use the word forcing, but it feels like you can't escape it. You can't escape it. They're just putting it in your face. We're going to get into your comfort zone. We're going to go into traditional male spaces and take it over. And you're going to be forced to look at us. And I'm just saying, it's not real feminism. I pointed out in a previous video other female characters from a decade or more so ago that were iconic, and they don't seem to be doing anything with these people. They're just taking a low-hanging fruit because they are not creative. They're not creative. They're hacks. Whoever's coming up with this stuff is a hack. The feminist writer of Bond 25, who was assigned to the project to punch up the script, with witty banter. She's just a hack. She's a hack. I'm not paying for this movie. And I feel entitled to talk about it. I've been a Bond fan since I was a toddler. I've loved the Bond franchise. It's a part of my childhood. I can't say they're raping my childhood. I want to, but I can't. It's intellectual property. They own it. They own Bond. They can do what they want, apparently up to and including debasing his very image, the disrespecting Ian Fleming, who created the character. It was why do I have to say this? He's a British Secret Service agent. He's a man. He has some taste. He has been with a large number of women, and he's been in a number of life and death situations and saved the world several times over. That's why when I think about Daniel Craig after Casino Royale and maybe a few flashes in a couple of other films, he's really been a disservice to the character at large. That the films that they made, they were grounded and just gritty, and the colors are muted, and you just got tired of looking at it after a while. And I didn't want to see this guy because he looked like he was suffering from some kind of malady or something. He looked like he was constipated all the time and angry and bitter and sullen. I'm like, why do they like him? Even when I watched the movie, and they had Julie Dench in the one movie. I can't even remember the name of it. It's not Spectre. It's the other one with Javier Bardem, which he was a great villain in that movie. He was a gay villain. They were testing the waters there when they had him proposition Bond, and Bond being non-pulsed by it. Anyway, screw that. But here we have it. You have a character, the female character, a CIA agent, a black ops, a deadly fighter, an intelligent woman who can hold her own. She gets down with the men. As seen in the movie, she has a love scene with Pierce Brosnan that is decidedly, it's just one-sided because he's in the bed and he's had some kind of trauma, recently escaping from North Korea after being tortured. But he's in the bed with her, and he says to her, it's been so long since I felt the touch of a good woman. And Halle Berry responds by pulling out a knife, putting it into his face. She flashes a knife right under his nose, and she says, "Whoever said I was a good woman?" And right when he's questioning his situation, she has like a kiwi or something, and she cuts into it and starts eating on it and puts in a piece in his mouth. It's just hilarious, but it just underlies how great that character was and could have been if they had went ahead with the plans to spin off into their own franchise and put some real people behind it, some real thought and creativity. They could have had a franchise. They could have had at least 2 or 3 Jinx movies by now. If you did those right, that's money in the bank. But today in 2019, we have Lashana Lynch, and she's going to be a new James Bond with an attitude, more likely. I'm not prejudging or nothing, but I just can't honestly see myself paying for this or having it in my home. Maybe I'll catch it some other kind of way. But I'm not going to go out of my way to look at it. I don't want to support it because it's supporting it's supporting an agenda. I hate saying Me Too. I hate saying that phrase, but I am tired of them. It's ambiguous. They're almost as villainous as some of the villains in the James Bond canon. They're like a weird version of Spectre. You never know who's in charge of it. And they say Tarana Burke, but she's not in charge of it. As a matter of fact, the minute she was outed as the person who founded the movement, they created a separate movement called Time's Up, in which money was given by people like Les Moonves and others, probably extortion money. They gave them a war chest of well over $10 million to work with, to do things like this and, put themselves out in the public eye. So in real life, that's who Jinx or Lashana Lynch would be fighting. And if you really thought about it, they'd be fighting Me Too. Now, if they make a Bond movie where she's fighting Me Too, maybe I'll relent. But we both know that's not going to happen. This feminist crap is not feminism. It's something else. It's something that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I want nothing to do with it. Thank you.